Welcome back to the Tuesday Weekend, the podcast that knows a good bar back is worth their weight in Pappy Van Winkle.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Holy crap. So we were going to talk about cleaning in this block because just like in my years in the kitchen, it is one of the most important aspects of the job that gets no glory, but needs to be done. And you can immediately tell the difference between the bartenders that do and the bartenders that do not. Nick, you had given the example of setting your arm down into something wet on the bar. Ugh, that's just gross. On the service side, there's always ice. It's a wet environment. There are plenty of times where, you're scooping ice and, a cube goes astray and then it melts there on the bar.
Yeah.
It doesn't take very much to wipe that off.
Oh, no, it takes 5 seconds.
5 seconds.
And just acknowledge it. I mean, and some bars, like my current bar, is just a plain white marble top bar with like no striations, no coloration, just white. So a lot of times I've got to kind of look down the bar because you can't actually see the liquid on the bar, but you need to do that. I mean, every time I'd walk by the end of the bar, I'd look down the bar and it's like, okay, I got to wipe down there. I didn't see that was wet there.
Well, and I mean, the other key reason to keep your bar clean is just Murphy's Law. If you have a wet bar and you hand somebody the credit card receipt, they will set it in the wet spot to sign it.
Every single time.
Absolutely.
And on a side note on that, one of the other times you don't want to ignore customers when they're ready to pay. When they're ready to pay, you want that done in a minute.
Yep.
As soon as you see them reach for their credit card, just walk over, wait for it, take it, run it, go back. You can have the best service of the night and blow it right there. Because if you make someone feel like their money isn't good enough there, they're not worth your time now that you're paying, that's right before they sign the tip, and that's what's going to be on their mind.
Absolutely.
And if you have like a bad service with the table, but you're still good on the payment stuff, you'll get more than you probably expect.
And really, especially if it's earlier in the evening, oftentimes when people are ready to go, there is something next to get to.
Yeah.
And they're ready to go. So don't hold up the process there. That is something that you should really be proactive about on when they're that far down on the drink. You're asking them if they want another one anyway. And if the answer is no, be like, oh, are you ready for the check?
Yeah. No. Also, new bartenders, you don't wait till the drinks are empty. That's
no. You've got yes.
Yeah. If you're waiting that long, you're behind.
Exactly.
And trust me, if you start waiting till they're all empty and then you start doing it, people will drink about the same pace.
Right.
So that one's empty, and then you're pouring them and look down, and there's another 7 empty that you could have taken care of at your pace versus their pace. And you've got to take all those glasses off, and you need to put them in the dishwasher, and you need to wash them or wash them in your 3-sink, whichever you use. But you want to keep up on that. Cleaning behind the bar is a non-stop thing. You really shouldn't have time to pick up your phone and do this and check out something. There is always something to do behind a bar.
Did you pull those glasses out of the dishwasher?
Did you pull them out to cool off? It's like, oh, I don't have any martini glasses. They're in the dishwasher. You pull them out, and now you've got to put them up, put them and ice them, which basically icing a glass is ice in. I prefer soda water because it'll chill the glass down quickly without fracturing it. No one ever believes this, but you take a hot glass out, fill it with ice, and put a cocktail in it, it just cracks. Most dishwashers wash around 170, 180 degrees. You're going to break glassware.
Yeah.
Speaking of broken glassware, that's always the fun one, is when you break a glass in your ice.
Yep. There is one thing to do in that situation, and that is burn the well. There's nothing else.
Here's your steps, new bartenders. What happens when that happens? You grab your grenadine, you grab whatever colored thing you have there, and you pour it in the ice right then and there, so that if you're working with another bartender or coworker, they can say, hey, why is this stuff in there? It's like, I broke glass in there. We got to burn it now. Don't touch it.
Don't touch it.
Your steps of retrieval on this are: go back and get another container of ice immediately, because you are going to need it. Service didn't stop. You did. Secondarily, get the hot water you need to start scooping the ice out. Do not scoop the ice out in another ice container. There's glass in it. Don't do that. Put it in another like kitchen container that you can take back to the dish room, and they can wash completely out and everything.
Yes.
That's kind of a big thing right there. After you scoop the ice out and burn your well, get a towel and wipe out the entire well. Don't just put more ice on top of it, because a lot of times you're not going to see the glass. It's clear. Ice is clear. There's water.
And hey, side note, every couple of days you should be pulling the ice out of your ice well anyway and wiping out the inside because it gets gross in there.
I worked in a restaurant where they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm burning the ice." Like, "Why are you doing that?" I had just started there, and I'm like, "Oh, you're kidding me." And they're like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Okay." So I get rid of all the ice. It's all gone. I get a towel and wipe out the ice bin, and the colors on that towel, they were like, "Are you?" I'm like, "You have to do this every night. You don't do this once a month. You really, like, bacteria grows in ice. A lot of stuff grows in ice. It's not,
It really does.
people don't understand that."
And now I have even had the experience of I've scooped ice into the glass, made the cocktail, and as I go to pass it to the guest,
You see,
notice the fleck of whatever
whatever.
in that,
Yep.
that probably was in the ice. And the stealthy way is you take the straw and you just, pick it out. But better yet is you should remake that drink.
And another cleaning problem I'm running into at my job is you wipe your bottles down after every shift. It's just standard. Even if you don't think they're sticky, they're sticky.
Especially the cordials and
Yes,
the sugar-based additives and all that. Yes.
everything. So, and like if you've got bottles in your well, which you will, and you're making drinks, there's going to get some liquor on there. You're going to get some simple on there. You're going to get some lime juice on there. Just clean them. The problem I'm running into is since COVID, everyone seems to think sanitizer cleans everything. Sanitizer is not a cleaning solution. It is an antiseptic solution. You don't use hand sanitizer to wash your hands. You wash your hands and then you use some hand sanitizer if you want to make sure they stay clean like that.
So
when you
hot
use
soapy water?
Yes, if you use sanitizer on bottles and you don't wipe that off, sanitizer actually is sticky. I had my manager say, "Hey, we came in today, I was opening your bar up and all the bottles are sticky." And I'm like, "Well, two things. First off, I didn't work yesterday. Second off, the other bartenders are just using sanitizer, which makes the bottles sticky. This bottle right here wasn't even touched, and it was on the back of the bar. It shouldn't be sticky."
At the same time, many counties do require a sanitizer bucket
Oh,
behind
no,
the
no, no,
bar
you have no.
anyway,
No, we do
but
that, but you
the
don't
the
wash stuff.
sanitizer rag is not a cleaning rag.
Correct.
They're different
Yeah.
uses.
It's different entire things. Yeah, that's what I mean. I've got my spray cleaner and I've got my sanitizer bucket.
You clean and then you
And
sanitize.
sanitize.
That's how it works.
Right. And then you change your sanitizer bucket every 3 hours.
Yes.
And it's super easy because the sanitizer on the back, you just push a button, it comes out, and then you go back again and you're good. But yeah, you don't want to clean stuff with sanitizer. You want to sanitize. You want to clean with hot water and soap or a cleaning product that is preferably not toxic. Now, one of the old school things, and I don't know if Josh, you've ever seen this or not, but there are some pretty bad liquors usually in wells in a lot of bars. One of my personal favorite was, and I'm going to blank out it right now because I need to think of it, was that really, really horrible Montezuma tequila. Montezuma tequila will clean everything. It's like, oh, you have blood on oak. Montezuma tequila will get that out. I would not wish that tequila on my worst enemy, but it cleans everything. And a lot of times you'll see bartenders using liquor to clean because it's biodegradable and it actually has cleaning properties. I mean, you're basically cleaning your bar with alcohol. As long as it's a rock bar, it's fine. If it's a wood bar, you're kind of screwed because it's just going to crush it.
Very similar vein, have used white vinegar as a cleaning product in the kitchen before because it does a very good job of dissolving messes, but you then have to come back with something else and
wipe vinegar. Otherwise, your kitchen smells like vinegar.
Going to smell like vinegar.
Yeah, I mean, alternate cleaning stuff like that, sure. I mean, soda water is great for a quick wipe down or something like that, but you have to remember you have to clean your bar. I mean, at the end of the night, I have to ask the guests to leave my bar and go sit in the lobby while I clean now, which I think is not right, but that's what they're telling me to do, so I do that. And then they're like, "Wow, you really scrub everything behind that bar." And I'm like, "Yeah, I really do," because you have to do it every single night.
Yes.
I mean, like you're going to be given a checklist for your closing and all the cleaning stuff you do every single night. Because if you skip it once and then the other guy or girl skips it once, it's now been skipped twice on different days, and that's going to build up real fast.
Exactly. I mean,
dirty stuff gets dirtier faster if you don't do anything at all to it. I'm a pretty clean bartender as well, and my bar still, I have to clean my bar every night.
I know this is a contentious point, and the actually correct answer is you cut enough fruit that you need for the service that day, and that's it. So you don't have a bunch left at the end of the night. But at a minimum, if you're saving cut citrus for the next shift, flip it into a clean container.
Well, like last night, I had I'm on an hours constraint right now at my work, so I can't really stay and do everything I want to. And I told that's fine. But like at the end of the night, I had 2 empty things in my fruit tray. I didn't really have time to cut the fruit to do my clothes and get everything clean and stuff. So those went in with the dishware as well. And so when I put the fruit away, you had the 3 full ones and the 3 empty ones. But the empty ones are already clean, so they can be filled without a problem. They don't have that residue. They're not going to attract fruit flies. Another thing with fruit flies, they're impossible to get rid of. Everyone hates them. But you have to remember this: if you put dirty stuff in the fridge, that does not affect a fruit fly. Like if you open your beer cooler where you keep your fruit and fruit flies fly out, you need to clean your entire cooler now because you haven't been keeping stuff clean.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the most noticeable one for guests or fruit flies.
Oh,
Every
absolutely.
bar has them. There's a million ways to deal with them. Some work, some don't. They're an absolute pain in the ass. And I've literally poured bleach on a fruit fly and then it just flies away. I'm like,
The
how'd that happen?
best solution is preventative measures and never having the problem, just keeping it clean. Don't
Keep
give them
everything
any
clean.
place to eat and breed. And
Exactly.
yeah,
And every bar you work in should have 2 cleaning lists. One is your daily cleaning list. One is your weekly cleaning list. On Tuesday, we do this. Wednesday, we do this.
sure.
I de-lime the dishwasher every Tuesday night.
Mhm.
You don't need to do it every night, but it does need to be done at least once a week. Otherwise, you get a lot of buildup and then your dishes aren't as clean. It just, trust me, it's something you want to do.
And anything that you can pull out and wipe the sides down is probably going to need it.
And that's another
Because
weekly one too. Just once a week, just pull that cooler out on the wheels and wipe down the sides and check behind it. There's
exactly.
always amazing stuff
If
behind coolers.
oh geez, you that's where you find like, oh, a whole orange
Yeah.
and a collection of corks and bottle caps, of course.
Yes. And now here's an interesting one. I want to hear your take on this. So I had a talk with my current manager and he's just like, well, you need to, pull the mats out and sweep behind the bar every night. And I'm like, why? And he's like, what do you mean? And he's like, do you do that? And I'm like, no, I don't. And he's like, why wouldn't you do that? I'm like, because we have a housekeeping crew here. He's like, wait, are you telling me that in all your time of bartending, you've never swept behind a bar? And I'm like, about 2% of the time, there's usually a crew that does that. If there isn't, then I do it. If I'm told to, then I do it. But I mean, we pay people here to literally do this. For them, it's a 10-minute job, no big deal.
Right.
Also, your bar's usually floors wet. You don't want to sweep a wet floor. But yeah, you need to clean behind the bar and clean the floor, but you need to make sure that's done. Like when I worked at the restaurant, every night I would pull my mats, and then every day I'd come in and put the mats back, but the floors were cleaned in the interim. That was my job there, was to just pull the mats out. The floor crew will do the floor and then just put the mats back.
In the ballroom, we were responsible for cleaning all of it. Like there really was not another cleaning crew that came on behind us. But
Yeah.
I've worked in both situations in the kitchen and in front of house where, there is some places, like even the Italian restaurant where I was managing, the kitchen had a night crew, but they didn't come out and sweep the dining room. So every couple of days, I mean, sure, you spot sweep at the end of the night, but then every couple of days is when you need to all right, actually move the tables and get under there and get under the banquettes and all.
See, at the restaurant, at the end of the shift, we put all the chairs up, and then the bussers would sweep the whole floor. Like not spot sweep, but sweep the entire floor.
Yeah. Well, and really, the kitchen that I closed, and I myself, even though I was chef de cuisine in that kitchen, I was usually the one mopping to get us out of there. So I would have one of the cooks, basically just do a sweep of the big stuff, but then really that floor needs to be mopped.
Yeah.
So pull up the mats, you mop, you let it dry.
Wash the mats.
Wash the mats.
Yeah, like at the restaurant, they would pull the mats out, bind them, and put them through the dishwasher, and then they'd be all sat there rolled up, waiting for the next shift, and then they do the floors, and the morning shift comes in, rolls the mats out.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, there's a cleaning thing. In my defense, in this bar, I was never told to mop or sweep the floor by anyone who trained me, by any manager. Then I'm just assuming, which is stupid, I know, that okay, I guess someone takes care of this. Because every place else I worked, someone took care of it.
The one other thing that gets dirty that can get like really gross is the nozzle of the soda gun.
Yeah. Now you need to take that off and you need to wipe it down. You do not need to soak the soda gun. The only time you want to soak a soda gun is when it gets sticky and stuff and the button starts sticking. Then you fill a container up with soda water or hot water and put it in for about 10 minutes. If you leave it overnight, it's going to destroy the seals, and then your soda gun is just going to start leaking soda all over everywhere. And it's going to take about a month for that to happen. But you're like, oh, I'm washing this every night. Like, you're not. You're just throwing a mechanical contraption into water.
Yes.
Maybe don't do that. But the nozzle of the soda, especially, yeah, you got to take that and wipe that out pretty much every other night. Not to mention, again, sugar, fruit flies. You've got the little drainage hose that you want to pour some hot water down every night to get that cleared out as well. Same thing for your beer taps. Otherwise, you'll start growing a yeast-based whatever in the drain thing it'll back up. I've seen that happen at bars before. I'm like, do you even pour water down this? They're like, well, why would I do that? And I'm like,
And most bars that do have draft lines have a service that will come and clean the lines somewhat regularly, but the taps could be cleaned every night.
Yeah, the taps you really want to, you just want to wipe them out. I mean, they've got the new things where there's like a little brush on it, and that's what you put in your taps at the end of the night. Just putting that in and taking it out isn't cleaning your taps. That's just blocking your taps. It keeps bugs from going up there, and it kind of eliminates a little bit of the dirt, but you still need to take a towel, take a rag, and wipe out the inside of the taps. I mean, if you're the only one doing that in a bar, and there's been several times I have been the only one doing that in a bar, you find some amazing stuff growing in the taps. And I'm just like, do you guys even clean this? And they're like, why? I'm like, yeah.
All right. And I think on that note, we're going to take one last break, and we will get back to some final thoughts about bartending. So stay tuned.